Whether you hate them or you love them, I think we can all agree that special tiles heavily influence the match's results. So I spent 25 days waiting for rotations to compile a list that includes one important tip for each tile. Starting with the collector tile, at first, I thought it counts each projectile as a hit, making Archer Queen and Archer the best picks. But I was wrong. I noticed that with Magic Archer, the numbers of hits to generate an elixir was very inconsistent. So I had to dig in further to understand what counts, and I ended up discovering how it works. If you look here closely at the Valkyrie, hitting 3 enemies at once moves the counter 3 steps, and on the next swing it will go 4, 5, 6, and on the third swing it goes elixir, then 1 and 2 again. Looking at it, it seems like you get an elixir every time you damage 7 enemies. This also works on supers, since the enemy swordsman got one from his super. What's more crazy is this play on Cursed Tile. I noticed the opponent was willing to take away a ton of his Wavemaster HP to hurt my queen. And even on round 3, he used the second tile, and since the tile targets the most far away mini, I got this golden idea. I placed a giant skeleton down right and baited both tile effects on him, which not only hurt his minis, but also it was beneficial for my own giant skeleton, rendering both his tiles completely useless. I still lost though, because this is like the most unfair matchup on existence. Yet there is a more unfair thing, and it's the Magic Archer on an Empowered Tile. The Empowered Tile buff works on normal attacks, so placing splashers like the Magic Archer on it will get you more value from the buff, or placing multi-shot attackers like the Archer Queen and the Archer will multiply the buff they receive by the numbers of shots they can get out. And another tile that is a bit similar to this but is more funny is the Devil's Trade. This tile takes 80% of your HP for 10 extra damage. What I like doing is placing a Spear Goblin with his 3rd star upgrade there, so the fast attack speed ends up falling on the enemies and sweeping them like no time. It is a very ridiculous combo if you can pull it off correctly. The only thing more ridiculous is the Mirror Tile. I don't think anyone likes this tile, but I found a less toxic tip for it. Using the guard on the Mirror Tile is a great idea, since all 3 of his abilities are base numbers, so the mirrored guard will get the same shields as the normal one. Even better with the Grand Warden, since it's potentially 3 extra buffs for your Grand Warden, which ended up making him go to 9 buffs, dealing 10 damage per hit. However, a tip I like more is the Transform Tile. Placing a hero results in a 3-star for Elixir mini, which is pretty broken in round 1 if I must say so. Now the reason I picked Natureborn for this is because you can abuse the randomly selected maxed for Elixir mini in early rounds, since Natureborn is generally weak, and on later rounds she gets stronger due to the fact that you have more Elixir. You can just simply move it away from the tile and support your main carry, which in my case was the Electro Wizard and the Healing Ranger combo. Speaking of Electro Wizard, let's talk about the Zap Zone. Having this tile spawn on the first row is a blessing, as it stops clash abilities like Ghost Invisibility or even a Fisherman. Like here in this match, I played my guard here to stop his prince, which was so clutch. At the same time, knowing he had a guard placed here, I placed my prince on the back to avoid it getting cancelled. I'm pretty sure it stops other clash abilities, but I didn't feel like wasting 100 hours trying all combos in friendly matches. Another blessing though is the Supercharge Tile. This one is very generic and basic, as it just gives 7 energy at the start, so there isn't really much depth into it. My tip would be to place minis with more expensive super on it. Having things with 10 energy like the Mega Knight or the Pink Fury is usually more value than having a Healing Ranger with its 4 cost super on it. Now let's jump into the next tile. Get it? The jump pad. Anyways, have you ever gotten your mini from the jump pad extremely hard countered? Use the Knight's Taunt to pull away things like the giant skeleton, so your mini can safely sweep the entire backline. Oh, and this works very well on the Wavemaster as well, so you gotta keep an eye on it, unlike the next tile where you cannot be keeping an eye on any of your minis. The Invisibility Tile is actually very funny, because pairing it with the Royal Ghost and the Prince allows you to have all 6 of your minis invisible at the same time. Granted, it's not a super OP strategy, but it is always useful to know, especially since the tile lasts longer than the ghost. This duration allows you to have your minis stay untargeted for longer, like how I kept the miner safe for a longer time. And finally, we got the Healing Tile. What's interesting about it is after the update, it's now reworked to be a passive buff that lasts the whole match. Even if your Skeleton King dies, he keeps that buff after reviving. This tile works so well with him because surviving longer allows him to get more souls than usual by surviving some very absurd scenarios where he normally should not survive. And also because when he dies, everything will retarget onto something else, allowing him to secretly build up more HP. This also can work equally as good with things that go out of sight like the bandit or the ghost, since whenever enemies retarget away, they get a chance to regenerate HP and go back even stronger than ever. That's 11 tiles. Surely we can get at least 11 subs on the video, right my dude?